I was sitting at your presentation this morning, and you told us about the Lean Software Factory. Can you tell us a little bit how you developed the concept and why you decided to bring development software development in-house, and what was the process behind it? You mentioned it's a 4-year plan, and you're in the 3rd year of it, I think.
Absolutely. So I'll answer in reverse order. The first question is, why did we decide to put the software in-house? And it's really related to the way the telco operates today. It's very competitive. The prices have been slashed. We need to introduce innovation to distinguish one from the other. Bouygues Telecom, we were the last entrant on the ISP market. So we selected an end-to-end solution, turnkey solution, that was actually very successful to start with. And my CEO decided that we had to innovate faster, be more aggressive 4 years ago. And we said, okay, to do this, we need a much tighter control over the hardware. So we will specify our own hardware and the software so that we can add new feature within days of development and not months. So that was the first decision. Okay. Then once you make that decision, you decide to do a software factory, because in that world, to be very fast, you have to automate. You have to automate the building, the management of code, the testing, the integration, deployment, everything. So this is why it's a software factory. So we said, okay, let's build a software factory. And we did that. 2010, 2011 is really when we started building the factory. Mm-hmm. But then the next step is, okay, we want to be best in class. It's not enough to deliver. You need to deliver really fast, remove inefficiencies, remove rework, and so on. And this is where the first step is, say, well, we should take a deeper look at Agile methodology, and we inspired ourselves from Scrum. So we're using Scrum. We've been using Scrum now for a couple of years. We also inspired ourselves from extreme programming, because the code, if you look at the successful company in the US, Google, Facebook, and the likes, they all have a strong code culture and code pride. And you're not just doing any software, you're doing the right software. Mm-hmm. And when you try to assemble everything, this is where Lean comes in. So Lean Software Factory is a software factory which is trying to be very agile, and that builds on Toyota principle. And as was explained this morning during many talks, Lean is about building people. So it's okay, I want to build software very fast, of high quality, but the challenges are changing all the time. It's a very disturbed environment, in the good sense. The technology is changing very fast. So I need to build my skills, and Lean brings you a lot of, not only tools, because tools, it's too simple. It brings you principles, values, and practices. And if I should stop.
That's great. Something else I wanted to ask you, if you can project a little bit more on what you think the relationship is between Lean IT and Agile, and how it's evolving.
Okay, so Agile is really about building things, software, stuff, projects. So it's in a very changing environment. So Agile has been sort of invented to fit an environment which is evolving rapidly. Lean, as we said earlier, it's about building skills, building people, continuous improvement. And the reason you cannot do everything with only Agile is when you're building products, those are actually complex structures. And there are a lot of architectural decisions to be made. If you keep tweaking and tuning and adding things incrementally, at some point you have a nice mess. So maybe it's Agile, but it's a mess. So you need to stand back. You need to reflect about what you're building, and Lean helps you doing this. So my vision is that I don't oppose them at all. So I'm not trying to understand what is better or in which order we should do things. There are two sets of principles. One is very good for a changing environment. One is very good for producing smart people and skilled people. And if there is one thing that we've learned while doing the Bebop Sensation, is that skills are really critical. I mean, at the end, what matters is what you know about IPTV and DLNA and all those technologies. If you don't have the right skills, it takes much too long to make the right decision.
So you think they complement each other, really?
Absolutely.
Thank you. you were also talking, you mentioned, you shared a few examples of how the set of tools and principles that we learned from Toyota can be actually applied to your environment. Can you tell us a little bit about it? You mentioned 5S, you mentioned Kanban. If you could have a couple of examples, that would be great.
So I followed the principle that you learn by doing. Mm-hmm. So I discussed this with Michael Ballet, and we both figured that you have to focus on practice, which is really the message of Toyota Kata, which is to do lean, you learn by practicing. So I said, okay, what in the world of software, of embedded software, does it mean to practice lean? And we selected the Kaizen, the team problem solving, a common project room, so visual management, but not as a tool to manage, but really as a place for the team to learn about the systems they're building, mm-hmm. and for the team to understand the problems they have to face. So it's really an educational tool, which is mm-hmm. very lean in the sense that you're trying to build your skill set. Then the third tool was a form of Kanban, which is sort of pretty simple. It's just a big table with Post-it so that you can see who is doing what. We have two goals. The first goal is to reduce work in process or progress. And the second goal is to make sure that you don't start something if the guy next to you who will continue your work is not ready, because there is no point in letting work stay. The key intuition of Agile is, because the world is changing very fast, there is no point in doing stuff in advance if you don't know what it's going to be used for, and that's very lean. So mm-hmm. that's where lean and Agile match pretty well. And the main challenge that I have in my own organization is people waiting for one another. It's inherited from the Taylorism, which is very common in large organizations, where you have roles, responsibility, people do specs, then they pass the work to the next. And it's very process and asynchronous, process-oriented and asynchronous. The world of lean is everybody together. I mean, and working with a takt time on a synchronous, common synchronous time.
The final question that I had was actually about this. What do you think the main struggle is in applying lean to IT? And so do you think it's the lack of the abundance of waiting, let's say, like everybody waits for somebody else to do their part? So is this the main challenge that you see?
Well, it's interesting to apply a 5 why, because what you say is true, but the question is, why is it so difficult? So at the end, it's all about culture, and the difficulty comes from the inherited culture from large organization. That you have two things. People are very sensitive. They have been told that they are good at what they do, which is true. Therefore, when, as someone says, there is a problem here, they take it as personal criticism. So the first thing, if you want to do lean, and if you want to do Agile, is true, but it's even more true if you want to do lean, you have to create a culture where we can talk about problems, about dysfunctioning items, without anyone feeling too much pressure or too much heat. So that's difficulty number one. And the difficulty number two is we are very conceptual, especially in France, and we love to see proper organization with clear roles and responsibilities. And lean functioning means all hands on deck. Everybody has a say in a product or in a process or in a project. And whenever we do problem solving, we ask the opinion from everyone. That is, if you have a developing problem, you also ask the guy from architecture, the guy who wrote the requirements, or the guy who's going to do testing, or the production, and so on. Mm-hmm. That's not so easy. So as a summary, the two big challenges are make people much softer about their role in the enterprise.
That's great. Thank you very much, and good luck. Thank you.